So I made a post about it on my X account. So if you're not following me on X, I will advise you do so, because I drop a lot of market analysis on my X. I don't really have the time to make videos anymore, so but any little time I get, I just try to make a video. So this is going to be like a trade review I took on oil this week. So let's get into it. So if you're not new to my channel, I believe you know what the COP is. So but I don't mind explaining again. A COP is simply the close and the open of the last two candles that forms a support or a resistance. So COP simply means close open price, or closing open and opening price, whichever way you resonate with it easily, or whichever way you're going to understand it easily, that's up to you. So but just know the concept is the close of this first candle and the open of the second candle. So the close of the second candle is the, sorry, let me lock this so it doesn't affect my, so the close of this candle is the open of this candle. Sometimes it aligns at the same price, sometimes it doesn't. So how you are going to find out is, or you ask yourself, why did I pick that level? When you switch to the line charts, hold on, when you switch to the line chart, you're going to find that this is going to be like, I'm trying to switch to the line chart, I don't know what's wrong. It's going to be something like this without this wick, here. So it's going to be something like this. So this level is what I'm looking at. That's why you see I placed the horizontal line here. So let's get into the actual trade. So we had the closing this week. This gave us the level we're trading off of. So coming here, this was last week. So after getting what we are looking for on this weekly time frame, the next thing we do is we go to the daily time frame to see the reaction on this level here. Now remember, we're not looking at this place yet. How the candle reacts here is what tells us if it's going to get to this highest point of this level, because this is still part of this level. So how it reacts here is going to show us whether it's going to get here or not. If it rejects on the same time frame which this level forms, if it rejects on that time frame, that means it's likely not going to get here. Or if a candle closes above that line, is more likely going to get here. So like what we're seeing now, we are likely to take this high on oil. So heading to the daily time frame. Now that candle, that level formed on the 20th of March. That was when the second candle closed, 20th of March 2026. That was last week Friday. So when the market closed, the weekly candle closed bearish, thereby forming that level. As we can see here, this is Friday. So but it closed bearish on the weekly time frame, as you can see this candle. So back to the daily time frame. What made this trade valid? Now this closed on Friday. On Monday, this candle opened, traded into that level. You can see the line here, traded into that line and dropped massively. Traded into that line and dropped massively. Now this has given us like a reaction off of that level. See how strong that level is. That was what caused this push down. So when he gave us this, the next thing we're looking for to continue to the upside is for price to come and disrespect this level here that it has given us. So this is going to be our break of structure. This is going to be our break of structure. I'm trying to get the perfect price. So this is going to be our break of structure. So price, now remember this candle formed on a daily time frame, so we need a daily time frame candle to break above this level, which makes our break of structure valid. If a 4-hour candle comes and breaks, is invalid. If a 1-hour candle breaks, anything lower than the daily time frame is invalid. So since this level is formed on the daily time frame, we need a daily time frame candle to break above this level here to show us that this is not going to hold, this price level is not going to hold, and is disrespecting this reaction off of that zone. So throughout last week we didn't get that break. You can see this is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. The market closed here. So on Monday this week, 30th of March, we opened here and closed above that level, closed above this level, giving us a break of structure. Now we're looking at structure here, giving us a break of structure. Now when we broke this structure, price left a fair value gap here. Price gave us a fair value gap on the daily time frame. So this fair value gap is what we're looking for market to trade into, to give us our push to the upside. But firstly, we're not going for this level here because we're trading in stage gradually. We're following structure to the upside, because structure can still decide to break and continue going down, but we're following it as it moves. So when price gave us this daily fair value gap, now we're waiting for price to trade back into that fair value gap so we can push to the upside to at least this level here. We're not going for this high yet. We're not going for here. We're going to follow structure gradually till we take this high. Then we'll know what next. So this is our target as of when the market was here. So what do we do next? We've gotten this fair value gap on the daily. We've traded back into it. So what we do next is we go to the 4-hour to look for a red zone. If you're not new to my channel, you know what a red zone is. So look for a red zone. Well, I still don't mind explaining what a red zone is actually. So when we trade back into this fair value gap somewhere around here, so a red zone is typically anything that can hinder us from getting to our target. So we'll have to see price disrespect that thing that hinders us from getting to our target to tell us. When price disrespect any level that is like an obstruction, then we can fully confirm that price is going to our target. What do I mean? So when we come here, we tapped into this place. Currently we do not have a valid red zone here on 4 hours at when we tapped in this level. We didn't have a valid 4-hour red zone. So this can be used as a red zone, but you see it's close to our target already. So when you're taking your red zone from here, it's typically no trade at all. So when it reacts here and disrespects this point, that means we're already here, so there's no point getting a trade. So I was willingly and wishing it would just break this low here and come lower into the fair value gap, which it actually did. So when it got there, when it broke this level, I was okay. Now we have a valid red zone, which is this support here. So what I was looking for was let's then change this to a red zone. What I was looking for was for the red zone to be disrespected on the 15 minutes time frame. The 15 minutes is what's going to tell me that this red zone is not going to hold. So but then you have to pay attention to this part because it gets a little bit tricky here. So when price broke here and gave me this red zone, which is this support that has turned to resistance. So since it's resistance, it's supposed to push the market down, right? Market is supposed to continue with this trend here. It's supposed to continue with this trend here and continue going down. But because we are looking, we've gone on the higher time frame and we've framed our bias on a higher time frame and we're bullish. We're looking at this as a retracement leg, so it's not like a trend we are following. So we're just looking for this trend to be disrespected with our concept of the red zone being disrespected, so we know that we are heading to our target. So please pay attention. At this point, when we've gotten this, now we go to the 15 minutes time frame from the 4 hour. We go to the 15 minutes time frame from the 4 hour to look for a disrespect of this red zone here, which is this support here. If this support wasn't here, what would be our red zone? Let me delete it. If this support wasn't here, this low here wasn't here, what would be our red zone? Would be this fair value gap or this other block. Depends on which one is closer to where we're going to be looking or watching out for the disrespect. So let's put it back. This red zone here is what we're looking at now for price to disrespect that. Then we know we're going to our target. And how do we look for that? To go to the 15 minutes time frame. So coming to the 15 minutes time frame here, okay, coming to the 15 minutes time frame, what we're looking for, let me set this correct. So coming to the 15 minutes time frame, what we're looking for is for price to come do something like this, trade here, give us a reaction on the 15 minutes time frame here, then disrespect that high, which is the same concept. If you paid attention, the same concept we used on the daily time frame, framing our bias. So when we get this on the 15 minutes time frame break, then we are likely going to our target. So but here is where it gets a little bit tricky. So if you watch, it came into the 15 minutes time frame and formed this high, but we failed to break above this high up until this point. But did I take my trade here? No, I didn't take my. This was actually where I took my trade, at the close of this candle here. So I'll explain. Why did I take my trade at this candle instead of this candle? Because it's supposed to be when we disrespect this high, then we continue upwards to our target. But why did I take it here? Now this takes us back to the 4 hour time frame. This takes us to the 4 hour time frame. So on the 4 hour time frame here, let me zoom this. On the 4 hour time frame here, we see price tap into this red zone. We see price tap into this red zone and reject. But while it was rejecting, it has formed a bullish candle here. So this bullish candle actually turns into support. This level here turns into support. So we'll mark that support out. Mark that support out. So we'll mark out the support. This candle and this candle here. These two candles form the support. So after that, we'll go back to the 15 minutes time frame to see a trend, a downtrend back into this support on the 15 minutes time frame, something like this. So let's go to the 15 minutes time frame to make it clearer. So putting this support in consideration, now we go back to the 15 minutes time frame. So now we see after that tap, we form this level, came here, dropped back in. So when you come, this is where we get our level on the 15 minutes time frame. This here, this here, this here, this, back into that 4 hour support. So we broke with this candle. here, this bullish candle here, also we broke that level with. So after the break of this structure, I took my entry here exactly at this point with my stop loss below this low and my target at our high here. That's it. That was how I caught this trade. I think Trump's speech was somewhere around here. As you can see, after that speech, it was all bullish moves. So that's it on this trade review. I would really appreciate if you like the video and subscribe.